Could the rise of Airbnb lead to a housing market crash? Today, we're diving into a hot topic that's been making headlines and reshaping the way we think about housing: the impact of short-term rentals, particularly platforms like Airbnb, on the housing market. If you're curious about how these rentals are influencing housing dynamics, then you're in the right place, so let's dive right in. In recent years, the popularity of short-term rentals, facilitated by platforms like Airbnb, has skyrocketed. In 2023, Airbnb's active listings have eclipsed 7 million, and it's becoming a more mainstream option for both hosts and guests. However, with this surge in popularity and it becoming more and more mainstream, comes a range of questions about its impact on our communities, and more specifically, the housing market. While short-term rentals offer flexibility and unique experiences for travelers, there's a growing concern about how they might be affecting the availability and affordability of long-term housing. When Airbnb began, prices were almost always lower than staying in comparable quality hotels. Customer service was better, and the platform was a tighter, close-knit group of hosts and users who could be trusted. Nowadays, you are lucky to stay at an Airbnb for the same price as a hotel, as demand has risen and all the expensive fees and cleaning fees that are tagged on at the end. Many users have shared their frustrations about poor customer service, poor quality, and safety concerns both from a guest and host perspective. But as the platform has grown larger, a lot of these complaints have fallen on deaf ears. I honestly think it's easier, safer, less stressful, and more recently, cheaper to just stay in a hotel instead. One of the primary concerns of the rise of short-term vacation rentals is the potential strain on long-term housing. As more property owners convert residential units into short-term rentals, there's a decrease in the supply of traditional homes, which drives up prices and limits options for those looking for stable, long-term housing, most of which are families and young Gen Z and millennials. This shift in usage from long-term to short-term rentals has sparked debates in various cities around the world. Many argue it's contributing to the scarcity of affordable housing and making it more challenging for residents to find suitable, permanent homes. For every property that's turned into an Airbnb rental, that's one less listing that a potential homeowner or long-term renter would have access to, decreasing supply on an already strained housing market. Another noteworthy impact is the role of short-term rentals in gentrification and neighborhood transformation. When an area becomes popular on platforms like Airbnb, it can attract an influx of short-term visitors. While this may boost the local economy, it can also lead to artificially increased property values and a shift in the neighborhood's character. Cities that attract a lot of tourists, like LA, Barcelona, and Amsterdam, are the hardest hit. Residents may find themselves dealing with rising living costs, changes in community dynamics, and potential displacement due to the increasing demand of short-term rentals. This greatly impacts locals and populations indigenous to their local town or city. Hawaii is one of the most egregious examples. Locals who grew up in Hawaii often find it hard to keep up with the cost of living because the vacation market and tourism has driven prices through the roof. Celebrities like Oprah and others who are buying hundreds of properties in Hawaii aren't helping either. For those vacationing to Hawaii and are only there for a week or two, they're willing to spend a lot more on goods and services than those who live there all the time, which drive up the prices. In fact, the rise of short-term rentals has posed regulatory challenges for many cities. While some places have implemented strict regulations to mitigate the impact on housing markets, others are still navigating on how to strike a balance between the economic benefits of short-term rentals and the need for stable, long-term housing solutions. This delicate balance requires thoughtful policies that protect both interests of the hosts and the broader community. Striking that balance is not going to be an easy feat. It's important to highlight that short-term rentals also bring economic opportunities and jobs to certain areas. Many hosts rely on platforms like Airbnb to supplement their income by renting out spare rooms or entire properties. This economic boost can have positive effects on local businesses and the overall economy. But while short-term rentals contribute to the economy and provide income for hosts, it's essential to weigh those benefits with the potential negatives, being the impact on long-term housing availability and affordability. Understanding the various viewpoints is crucial to crafting well-informed policies that addresses the concerns of all stakeholders involved. Now, could the rise of Airbnb and vacation rentals crash the housing market? In my personal opinion, I think it would be a contributor, yes. But I don't think it would be the sole cause if we had a housing market crash. There would have to be a combination of other factors, such as fluctuating interest rates, an economic recession, inflation, property values, largely determined by supply and demand, and a high amount of mortgage defaults. But we've already seen the impact of the short-term vacation rental in certain markets reduce the supply of long-term housing and therefore drive up home prices. As real estate prices stay high and continue even higher, combined with inflation, a potential future recession, and a high number of overconfident homebuyers committed to owning a home even when they cannot afford a current mortgage, a housing market crash could be imminent. Americans are still spending like there's no tomorrow, too. So we are just at the tip of the iceberg of what could come, since most are very ill-prepared for an economic downturn. It's an important reminder that nobody truly knows what will happen to the housing market or the economy, but one thing is for sure. The greater the share of short-term real estate properties that go up on Airbnb, the lower the supply is for everyday home buyers like you and me, which will increase prices. Communities, policymakers, and platforms like Airbnb must work together to create solutions that support both the short-term rental industry and the stability of the housing market. Will they, though? I'm not going to get my hopes up. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to hear your thoughts. Are short-term rentals having an impact on the market in your area? Leave a comment down below. They sure are in mine, even outside the city. If you found this video insightful, smash that like button to help out with the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more similar content. Now that you know how Airbnb affects the housing market, watch this video to see if it's a good time to buy a house. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for more intentional insight.